Good afternoon. Happy Thursday. I am Julie with Creations by Julie. Ed is behind the camera, hopefully to catch any of your questions you might have today. Let me see, make sure Facebook has us. Okay, I think so. See if I can get it going so I can see your comments. I see a couple of people hopping on, so that's good. I appreciate y'all being here. Hopefully a few more will hop on, and I hope all of you have great weather and that you weren't affected by all those storms that came through. Like the middle part of the U.S. I read this morning there was so many tornadoes, and we have a beautiful day here today. The humidity's not bad, the sun is shining, and you know, sometimes it just takes something like this for you to realize how blessed we are. Most of us, truth be known, we're spoiled. It's our human nature to complain. You know, we complain about the weather. We complain about what we have, what we don't have. And sometimes we just need to be shook up a little bit and realize that our lives can change in a split second. And we just need to be thankful for the things around us. Things could change with your family, you know, the health, or like these people are seeing an act of God, a tornado, a hurricane. We're in the hurricane zone, and we just really need to be thankful, but and pray for those people that their towns were just devastated. It's sad, but anyway, I hope you've had a good week and have big plans for this weekend. But we'll talk a little bit more about that later. But right now, let's talk about. I try not to use certain words that Facebook doesn't like us to use, but you know, I like to give away FREE things. We call them blessings around here. I try to make it fun and entertaining, but yet be something that you can use, or you know, that you might want. I enjoy just giving things away. Which is probably a phrase they don't want me to use, but you know, if I get shut down, I get shut down. But anyway, I try to do something different every month. This month, I decided that I was going to bless someone with the craft kit that Magnolia Design Company puts out every month. You have to subscribe for it for 3 months, and then you can cancel. But everything that you need to make a project is in this box. So I'm hoping, and it's a stencil that's exclusive to the craft kits. If they happen to have enough of them, they'll sell the others, and I'm just praying they have enough of these, because this is such a cute stencil. But in this, what I'm going to gift someone, you're going to get a sample of the black paste. You're going to get a squeegee. I'm going to give you a little cup to put your paste in, and a stir stick. But this month is tea towels. There's 2 of them. There's a yellow one and a striped one, and they're just super cute. You get the instructions step by step. If you watched my live on Monday, I actually inked on some tea towels, so you could go back and watch that for instructions too. But this is the stencil that comes in it, and it is just super cute. It's 2 stencils. Sweet as honey, and then let it be. And if they offer these for sale in the next month or 2, I guarantee you I'm going to grab a couple of them, because I love it. But anyway, this is what our blessing is for the month of April. I will, and to be eligible to get your name in, and it doesn't have to be just on the live. If you're watching replay, Ed has his hands up.
Omega Chamberlain from first time from Florida.
Thank you so much. What was the first name?
Omega.
Omega, cool. I appreciate you being here. I hope you'll like what you see and you'll come back.
Barbara Rosecrans says hello.
Hi Barbara, it's good to see you. I appreciate all of you. Some of you are here every live, and I just can't tell you how much I appreciate that. I love doing what I do, and I started my lives hopefully just to inspire you to step out of your comfort zone, to step out of the box and try something different. Magnolia craft may be different. It's reusable stencils, but to be eligible to receive this, I'm trying not to use the word W-I-N, to receive this blessing for this month, all you have to do in the comments of the live or the replay is put #AprilKit. I will go through and pull all those names out, put them in a bag, and our first live in May, I will draw a name and that person will be getting this kit. So now that we have that taken care of, our little bit of housekeeping, let's look at the wreath we're going to do today. And I will tell you,
Linda Cook says good afternoon.
hi, good afternoon. This is not a difficult petal. Once you see it and you practice a time or two, it's very simple, but I'm telling you, this particular wreath done with this petal, number one, it's the same. We're going to use a small flower board from Unique in the Creek. Same one that I showed you, the Dean Michael petal and the sunflower. But this has a total different look to it. Now, if you want to do these petals, it takes more petals. And I did the majority of them the first part of this week, and I just took a couple of days and just spent some time doing them. You need a total of 80 petals, and I'm going to show you how to load your board. Do you have a question?
Phyllis Brubaker just sent you 50 stars. That's your first.
Oh, Phyllis, thank you so much. Phyllis, write her name on the board, Ed. You're the first one to send me stars, and I so much appreciate it. If y'all don't know, I just kind of feel like I'm a big fish now in the pond. You know, this is, I'm now eligible to receive stars. What the stars are, they're like a penny a star, and I plan to use them to help me defray the cost of shipping out all my gifts, all my blessings. So, Phyllis, was that her first name?
Yeah.
If you will PM me your address, I have something I'm going to send you for being the first person to send me stars. I so much appreciate it. Okay, so back to the petal. This is called a Star Trek petal. It's smaller. Let's see, I have one made up. I make up most of my petals ahead of time. It's shaped, when you start making it, like the Starship Enterprise, and they call it the Star Trek petal. You can tell it's smaller than our normal Dean Michael petal, so it takes more of them.
Looks like a little fish.
This looks like a leaf, actually, I think. Yeah. So I'm going to show you how to do it, and we're going to start with the board. This is a small flower board from Unique in the Creek. I put a link at the very top so that you can purchase the board, you can purchase your zip ties, you can purchase your centers, and you can purchase your mesh, all from the same place. And they're based out of Canada, but they're very fast in getting things shipped out. But I have the majority. Let me just show you the wreath that we're going to be finishing today. And I did the majority of it, but I need to ask y'all a question. Okay, this is what I chose. These are the colors I chose because I want to put a bee on it. So I went with the black and the yellow. And, you know, I want to be very mindful of your time. I want to show you, and I'll explain, this is the back of the board, exactly what I did, the colors I used, the order I put them, how many it took on each row. But I didn't figure you wanted to sit here and watch me put in and make 80 petals. But I also, on the other hand, want to make sure you understand how to do it, because my purpose in doing that is to inspire you to try different things. So if you like the fact that I do the majority of the work ahead of time and then just explain to you how to do it, give me some hearts. I want to do what you want me to do. I just don't want to be on here for 2.5 hours and take up that much of your time. But now that's my thought on it. I want to know how you feel about it. And I want to make sure that I explain things. If I don't, put a question in there.
There's a bunch of hearts.
Good. If Ed doesn't catch it, I go back after the lives and answer all of the questions. So I'm hoping that y'all enjoy the way I do my videos. I try not to ever, and you can ask the people that are on here all the time, I would say the majority of my videos are probably maybe 40 minutes, some are less than that. But usually on Thursdays when we do a flower or a wreath, it takes longer.
Tara McDougal says she appreciates that.
Okay, good. I'm glad. I mean, you can always on a replay fast forward through things, and I do that a lot. I understand. I'll watch a replay and I'll fast forward to the end and see if it's a project I want to learn how to do. If it is, I go back and watch how they do it. So I want to make sure I explain everything, but this is from Unique in the Creek. It's the small flower board. I think it makes a large enough flower. Plus shipping has gotten so expensive that I very seldom use the large boards. But I'm telling you, you're going to need a total of 80 petals. So you're going to, depending on what colors you use, you could do this whole flower in one color. The good thing about this petal is you don't have to worry. Remember last week we talked about the fraying for the poly burlap and it frays so bad? You don't have to worry about fraying. You can use cheaper mesh. You can do it all one color. You could do every row a different color, but you're going to need 80 petals total, and that's cutting it at 10 inches or 10 and a half. Now you have to be careful. I don't think either one of these was 10 and a half, but it will tell you on the front of your mesh. Well, yeah, this one, the black one is 10 and a half, which explains why some of my diamonds didn't turn out exactly right. The black should be cut at 10 and a half by 10 and a half. So, but you can, the way I'm using it, this is what I did. You need one roll of the black, you need about a roll and a half of the yellow. The yellow, and it's not the same material. All right, this is what I used. I have this yellow, it's almost like a plastic, but it is from Unique in the Creek, and it was called Deco Poly, and it's 10 by 10. You see it says here on the bottom it's 10 by 10. You're going to cut this at 10 inches, and you're going to need, let's see, 48 yellow if you do like I decided to do. But that's where your creativity comes in. Like I said, you could do the whole wreath in one thing. If so, you need about 3 rows, say, of yellow or pink or whatever you decide to do. The black I used is a different mesh. It's thinner, but it's called a cotton ball mesh. And it's just got a little bit of a shiny tinsel stuff through it. But I cut them at 10 inches, y'all. I didn't take my own advice. I didn't notice it's 10 and a half. But you'll see it still worked out. The petals look a little different because they look smaller. But it's because I didn't cut this at 10 and a half. But this is what I have left out of one row. So I'm sure, you know, depending on how many you need. I needed 32. And normally at 10 inches you don't get but 36. Okay, so I have cut, but I saved like 8 to show you the petal. But let's talk about the board. A lot of people load their board all ahead of time. With this particular flower, I took it row by row, and I actually just cut enough for the outer row. I loaded the board, and then I cut my pieces, made my petals. I did the outer row, and maybe the next day you do the next row. Okay, so to load this, you're going to use on your outer row, row 1, every single space. Now you'll notice on these boards you've got 2 indentions here. That's where you're going to put your hanging hoe. I usually just use a little bit of jute, but you have 16 on this outer row. So you're going to put your zip ties in with the flat side up so that you can zip them up, and you're just going to run it through there. And I'm going to explain it to you the way I do it. So I just do the outer row. So you need 16 zip ties. I usually turn it over and run them through this way because the end of that zip tie, if you use 18-pound, these are 6-inch zip ties, it goes through that hole, and you can just stick them all in from the back like this. and then I go and zip them up. That one is turned wrong. Okay. And then I go, see if you've got the flat end facing the ceiling, then you just take it until you hear it kind of zip. Got a little zipping sound. Hence, I call them zip ties. So load the entire outer ring. Okay, and when you get all of them loaded, any questions about the board? You're actually going to use 32 petals on this outer ring, if that makes sense. Because I'm going to put 2, these are smaller, so I'm going to put 2 on through each zip tie to make it fuller. So load the outer with 16, and you're going to put 2 in each zip tie. All right, I've only got a couple of the yellow made, so I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you how to make your petal. Okay, take your mesh, and you want the curl up. Okay, always have your severed edges at the top and the bottom. The one thing about this petal is that you want to make sure each one is almost identical. You know, mine are not perfect, but you want to make sure that you do them the same way every time. I take and then I turn it into a diamond with the serged edge on my left side. Take corner to corner, like this. Okay, so you've got a triangle. Then you're going to take and make another triangle. Here's where the Star Trek name comes in. You see what I have? And if you fold them all, you'll always have the opening on the same side, and it's on my left side. Once I get it like this, I take it, and you wouldn't have to do this, but I do. I clip this together like that. Okay? And there's going to be some measuring with this. That way all your petals are the same length. I use, and I make up my petals ahead of time. Like I said, I load my board, I cut. I needed 16 of these and 16 of the black. So I cut all my materials, and then I made those 32 petals. Okay? And I put these little bitty clear rubber bands around it to hold them. And you get 1,000 at the Dollar Tree or something like that. So once you have your petal, you're just going to take the rough edges here and just kind of, this is a thicker mesh, by the way. So you're going to pull this one to the middle and this one to the middle. And then you're just going to kind of either scrunch it or push it down.
Judy Crafton said hello.
Hi, Judy. And so you're going to put it together like this. Okay, but then I measure from tip to where I'm going to put the rubber band, and I want it to be about 5 inches. So I mean, you could go from 15 to 10 right here in the middle. So I put my fingers there. See, you're going to have a good bit to cut off. And I normally drag the trash can. Let me find my scissors. There they are. But today I'm just going to put them in this bucket, you know. But you don't want them flying all over the place. So I am going to cut probably at least 2 inches or 2.5 off of this edge.
That bucket's well used.
Yeah, it is. It's what I use for my stencils. So I'm just going to cut that off the whole time I'm holding this, okay? So then I take one of these little clear rubber bands. I use my teeth and get it going. And you can put it around that 2 or 3 times. No more than 3. Sometimes I do 2. I take my clip off, so there you have your little scoop petal, okay? And you see there's no ends to fray. They're all down here. That's the reason you can use cheap mesh from Hobby Lobby. But then I'm going to make sure.
Judy Crafton said she used her teeth as well.
I know. It's just easier, you know. So I want to make sure it's 5 inches. So I'm going to put the tip of it on the 15, and my rubber band is at 10. So it's about 5 inches. Now, this is your Star Trek petal. See how much smaller it is than the Dean Michaels. That's why we use 2 of them to make it fuller. if you want to try just one, go for it. If you don't like it, then add another one. You can use this either way. When you get ready to put this petal in the board, mine I did with the scoop up. That's what most sunflower are done, like this. But if you want your flower like a lotus flower, or if you want your flower to kind of curve up, then you just turn it over and you have your scoop going like this. And see how it will cause your petal to, turn this around. It'll cause your petal to sit up on the edge of the board. But once you start doing it, make sure you do all your petals the same. Now, you could do the outside edge one way and do the middle different.
Omega Chamberlain says don't have to use the wood burner.
No, because you don't see the frayed edges. You can use cheap mesh and you could cut it with scissors if you wanted to.
And Travis said good luck.
Yeah, that's the good thing about this particular petal. I don't make many flowers because it takes so many petals, but it does make a very pretty flower. All right, I just chose to turn mine this way, okay? And I chose to put one yellow and one black in each one. So let me fold a black one.
Thank you, Miss Ann, for the sprinkles.
If y'all don't know, sprinkle means S-H-A-R-E. Facebook doesn't like us to say that either. Okay, petal. See, this is, you're going to see the difference. Because this is 10 inches, it really should be 10 and a half to get an exact triangle. But it didn't matter, it still comes out just a little bit smaller petal. Okay, so curl going up, edges, this is the cut edge. This is where you've cut it with your rotary cutter, your scissors, or whatever. I use a rotary cutter if I'm not going to seal the edges. All right, take the bottom and turn it into a triangle so that I have the severed, is it called severed? Surged edge on this side. All right, then make a triangle. And you're going to see my triangle does not go all the way to the edge. That's because I didn't cut it the right size. But I'm telling y'all, this whole flower was made with them cut at 10 inches, so it's doable. All right, you've got it folded, triangle. Just always fold the same way because you want your edges on the same. Fold it in half again to where this one meets and you have this point. You have like a Starship Enterprise thing going on here. I take it, and this one was pretty curly. You see it's trying to curl up. And then I just clip this top so that it stays together. All right, see, this one seems to have more of a curl than the yellow one did. This is a thinner mesh, and so it's not. You're just going to bring these two to cut. They're kind of in the middle, like this. Measure. All right, my fingers, once you do a few, you pretty much can tell. Right where they go together is going to be about 5 inches long. I put my fingers there. I'm going to cut off the excess because you don't need all that. Oops, and it still went flying across the table. Then I'm going to take my little rubber band and I'm going to just put it around 2 or 3 times to hold my petal. Take my clip off, and then I'm going to measure it again to make sure my rubber band is close. And once you put them on the board, you'll make sure that they're the same size anyway. Okay, so see, there's a little difference in the size of these petals. See how this one looks a little more narrower? But I'm still going to make sure that my curve is up. Okay, once I had these two made, well, actually, I made 16 of these, 16 of these, okay? Because you've got 16 zip ties on the outer edge. I'm going to put those together, making sure that my open edges are facing the same way. Then I'm going to put it in that zip tie almost down to row 2. Because I really want it to get a good hold so your petals aren't flopping. So I probably have, it's almost to the knuckle, the difference between row 2 and 3. I put it right down on this line. There's a line all the way around. And then zip it up. I'm not
Thank you,
gonna,
Miss Ann, for the hearts.
I'm not gonna zip it up all the way, cause I'm actually gonna take these off and finish up our other wreath. But zip it as tight as it'll go. It doesn't matter that they don't touch, you know, once you get that whole row done, then you can adjust them. And you can see my band is pretty much where I zipped it, maybe a little lower, cause you know, you can move them once you get them in that zip tie a little bit. Cause see, it kinda pulled it up. The key is when you start doing it, make sure they're you don't want one out here and one down here. Just make sure your pedal tips are kind of the same. And a way of doing that is because we measured, and then we also pull them down the same all the way around. Okay, so let's do another one. Actually, I gotta do it anyway. All right, top and bottom, turn it to a diamond, take the bottom, put to the top, make your diamond, fold it in half again. There's your Star Trek. Put a little clip at the top, and then just kind of scrunch it together right where they meet. All right, then I'm gonna measure it. All right, that's right at 5 inches where I put my fingers. I'm gonna try to hit the pan this time, maybe if I do it from this way.
Yeah, because I got my arm in there with a throat.
So I still have my fingers. Let's see if I can not use my teeth. But see, here's where all your frayed edges are down at the bottom. Take the clip off, and it doesn't matter if you've got a little bit here. It's gonna be down and pushed together anyway. Okay, let's see. All right, that's 5 inches. So let's do a black one. Curl side up, and you tell this was towards the end of the row. It's really curly, but that doesn't matter. Turn it, take the bottom, go to the top, make your diamond. See, it's way down here, but that's okay. Fold it again, where they're fairly close. Clip it. Now you don't have to make your petals ahead of time. You could do each one as you go. To me, it's just easier to make them ahead of time, especially if you do row by row. And if you're doing like a pattern, I forget if, you know, it just made it easier. Plus I needed to write down so I could tell y'all exactly how many petals went on each row. Okay. Hold it right there. See, it looks, we're cutting off more of the black because it wasn't an exact diamond. So I'm gonna cut right just a little bit above my fingers. Hold it so it stays together, and then just a couple of times around. Take my clip off, make sure my edge is over here, and then that my poof, or whatever you want to call it, is up. And then you're gonna go, all right, we went black, yellow, so we're gonna do black, and then another yellow, and get both of them in that zip tie. One may be longer than the other. This is where you could leave your zip ties open if you wanted to. Might be easier sometimes, but, and then I want my yellow under the black, kinda. And that's just because that's what I like. And then I'm gonna kinda make sure my petals are the same height, and most of the time they are if I go up, you know, same here. And then just zip it up. You gotta hold them and zip them up. And then what I did is kinda take my black and just turn it to where it's kinda over the yellow, if that makes sense. All right, that's the way you do the outer row. Okay, all the way around, you're gonna have 32 petals. Now, once you have all of those in there, let me show you on the one I finished. And see how full it makes it. This is my row 1 back here. See, I've got yellow, black, yellow, black, yellow, black. Once you're done, you can take them and kind of move them. But you could do all yellow if you wanted to. You could do all black. I'm going to put in a black center, so I wanted to make sure yellow was my last color because the black's going to go there. So I just figured it out and said, well, I'm going to do all of them here, yellow, black, and then yellow. All right, so if you can see, this is the outer row. 16, 2 petals in each zip tie. Now, if you are afraid you did not zip them tight enough, I use what I call a zip gun, but you don't have to. Most people just use little clippers, dikes as Ed calls them, and just pull it tight and clip it off. But a lot of people will pick up their wreaths by the outside petals. So what I like to do is I went, after I had done that, and say I'm done here, and I clip these off.
And Travis says that's beautiful.
I love the colors. I took my glue gun and I just ran a bead of glue from plastic board across over this little plastic tie to this side. It only took a second, and you're not going to be doing anything until you get ready to do this next row anyway. Does that make sense? Okay, so before we go to the next row, well, we could go to the next row. The next row could get a little confusing because I tried, there's only 8 double. See how they're double? Well, no, this is the second row. They're double here, they're together. There's only 8 of them. The Dean Michael, you just put 1 petal. I didn't like that it wasn't as full, so I put 1 in each, and then I used the shared hole. If you can tell, look here at the difference. Well, they added another hole so that you could do this. If you'll look at this row right here, you've got 2 together, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. That's so that you can use this as a shared hole. In other words, to load this row, you're going to use 16 petals. And I did them all yellow. Okay? So what you're going to do, you're going to put your zip ties through the 2 together and go all the way around if that's easier for you, to get the 2 together first. 2 there, 2 there, 2 here, 2 here. Then go back and go from this one to this one. Does that make sense? You'll go from here to here. All right, then you're also going to go from here to here. So I'm going to add another zip tie in there, and you might have to go from the front. And it looks crazy, and you've got just zip ties going everywhere. Okay, I've got one from here to here, one from there to there. So I'm going to go from this one back up through this one. Now, you see how they all run together? If it's easier for you, do one at a time until you get used to it. Put your 2 in there and zip them. Okay? Then put your 1 here and 1 in this extra hole. I have to find the right little head. And zip it. And that way you won't get confused. Then do the same hole to this one and zip it. I don't know how else to explain it. Is that making sense to y'all? And zip it. If it's easier to do 1 petal at a time, whatever you have to do for it to make sense. But you see, you're going to have a continuous row of zip ties all the way around. And then when you start putting the petals in, you only put 1 petal in each of those ties. See, it's a continuous line, but this is my second row. You may have to zoom in a little bit. I left these open right here so that you could see there's only 1 petal in each of those zip ties. The zip ties are just really close together. which put our petals close together. Always go in the same direction to where your opening is on the same side. See, the opening's here, the opening's here, the opening's here, because you want it consistent all the way around. That was row 2. Does that make sense? And if you're doing the flower all in the same colors, I mean, you don't have to worry about a pattern. You just put, so you've got 32 petals on this row, and you've got 16 petals for row 2. Whatever color you chose to use. If you want to do it 2 colors also. I didn't. This is row 1, this is row 2. And see, I didn't finish row 3 because I wanted to show y'all. I had to make sure it was going to cover the board, though, is the reason I went ahead and did the bottom part of the wreath. Any questions about row 2? That's really the most confusing row of the whole thing.
Nina Wood said, that's so pretty. I've done all the other methods on the Unique in the Creek board, but have yet to try a flower.
Oh, yeah, you need to try a flower. I mean, this makes a beautiful flower. It just takes a lot of petals. But like I said, I just don't get in a hurry. I might do my yellow petals one day, or do row 1 one day. The next day do row 2, or 2 and 3, whatever. But this is a continual to get it that full because our petals are so thin. And I turn all mine are not mixed. They're all with the puffy side up.
And Travis says, I want to do my angel wings.
Oh, yeah. I've yet tried the angel wings, believe it or not. But you can tell once you get the board loaded, that's why I do row 1. And then, because this row is just full. I mean, because you've used the shares. I didn't cut extra petals. So and the neat thing about these zip ties and these boards, if you mess up, you just clip it. Zip ties are cheap. You just take it off and do something different. Okay, so we're going to go back and let's talk about loading row 3. Say we've got our 16 petals all the way around row 2. So now you're just going to load exactly like it shows. There's 2 together, 2 together, 2 together, 2 together. So you're going to do 8. You load your board the same way. Then whatever pattern you're going with. If you're doing the same color, you don't have to worry about a pattern. If not, think about how you want your pattern. Maybe you want to do like an ombre, and you could have done purple, then a lavender, and then a pink, or get lighter as you go down. Row 3 is only going to have 8 zip ties. Okay? I went with black, but I put 2 in each zip tie. So you have 32 petals, 16 petals, and 16 petals. Okay? 2, 1, 2. So I'm going to finish row 3 right here. I need 4 black petals. All right, here's 2 of them. I've got to make sure they're kind of the same. You can put them side by side. You can put them over the top of each other. However you want to do it, you want to kind of make sure that your petals are the same length. And then leave your zip tie open if it's easier. Put them in there, and there again, it goes almost to those little holes in the center, but I want to make sure they're the same length here. I'm going to put them in there, and then I'm going to zip them tight. Pull them up a little bit. You can manipulate them once you get them in there, where they're not going to come off. The only ones that I added glue on were the ones on the end, because that and the center's going to kind of hold these in. But most of the time, people will pick up a wreath using these outer petals. All right, I have to make 2 more black. I have them cut. I just have to make them. I told y'all this would be a little longer today, but I wanted to leave enough petals that you knew for sure how to do the petal. Curl side up, the edge is here, turn it bottom to top, sort of a diamond, fold it again, start that ship going. To me, it just is easier to clip the top. Turn it. You're going to bring this one down and this one down to meet it, kind of here in the middle. I like to scrunch it a little bit right there in the center. Helps hold that center down. I'm going to measure it, and my fingers are right at, see, once you get used to it, I put my finger right at where it's 5 inches. All right, cut off the excess. You just, you know, your wreath would be too thick. You don't have room for all that excess. So I'm going to make these 2, and then we'll finish up row 3. All right, 5 and 10, that's good. So last one of the, I think that's the last one. I think I have all the yellow made. Okay. I see it's beginning to fray a little bit, but that doesn't matter because all your frayed edges are here. This is an excellent petal if you have cheap mesh that frays really bad, because you've got like 2 in a thing and they're doubled or tripled. Actually, it's 4 layers. You couldn't see the board. And all your frayed edges are here at the bottom, which are not going to show. Like I said, they just make smaller petals, and it takes more of them. But you get your system going, and it really does not take that long once you know what you're doing. Oh, and I broke a rubber band. Take the clip off. Okay, and I'm going to push that rubber band down a little bit because it's not right at 5 inches. Okay, that's good. Okay, so I've got my 2 petals. I'm going to turn them to where the opening is together.
Barbara Rosecrans wants to know, but does it work with just 1 petal in each hole?
I didn't like it. I thought it was a little thin. You can try it, but to me, these petals are just not very wide, and I just wanted a fuller wreath. You definitely can try it and see. You may like it. And it would save on materials. All right, see, that gets my row 3 all the way around, and there's 16 because there's 2 in each. Now I'm going to, this is called a zip tie gun. They're not really expensive. You can order them on Amazon, and it just has a little piece here that you put that zip tie in.
It's not very expensive for a cheap one.
Yeah.
And
it tightens and cuts your zip ties at the same time. You can always use the little dikes. In Lori's kit, and I have it, I gave away 1 kit, so I haven't used it. She has these little, she calls them nippers, and where this one I hold it this away to cut them, she cuts them this away with that little.
I got some. I'll sell you.
No, I have another kit back there that I can take them out of. That's okay. All right, so forget these yellow ones. This is row 3 that I did all black. All right, now we're going to go to row 4, which is right here in the center. All right, same thing. Barbara, you asked about if you could just use 1. I tried that. I tried just putting, not this one, I tried just putting this one and 1 here and 1 here. But when depending on what kind of center you're going to use, when I put my center on here, I just felt it left a gap. So I went back and added. So I'm still doing shared holes there. But the easiest way to do it is, I just added that one. Go and do you've got 2 holes together, 2 holes together, 2 holes together, and 2 holes together. Go ahead and put your zip ties in. the 4 for 4 of them, okay? And I would suggest, and what I wanted to do is just do those 4, then I'm going to go back and add a zip tie in between each one. But this was just, and I'm going to leave those open. So make sure it's headed the right way, put it in there, and I have to turn it right and see how far it's going. It might get a little tight with these, but you kind of want to make sure they're kind of the same, and then tighten it. Then I'm going to go over here to this one, and I'm going to make sure it's going the same, and tighten it. See, but this is all, if you only did these 4, that's all that would be there before you put it in your center. That one's needs to go a little bit more, but it's getting kind of crowded. Okay, so forget this one. This is the one I added. So that would be your 4. You see how much space you have? If you've got a big center, it might not be any, big thing, but I didn't like that. And you've got more of that yellow mesh anyway. So it was real easy just to do 4 more petals. And why do I just have 3? Oh, because one's already in there. Okay. All right, so what I did, this is hard to explain, but what I did is the same thing we did here. It's just going to be hard for you to see it. I went between these 2. So you've got your pair here. I'm going to use this one and this one. So when I finish, it'll be a row of zip ties all the way around. But you just kind of have to look on here and find it. Like I know that one's somewhere right there. And then turn it over and put it in the one right next to it. They're called sharing the hole. Grab your, and I left the zip ties open so I could see them.
And the purpose of sharing the hole is just make it
just to add
thicker.
More petals. And I'm going to make sure they're going the same way. These, I'm going to let these 4 that I'm adding kind of sit on top of the others to where it kind of looks like 2 rows. Like this one's kind of on top. This one I'm going to kind of put on top like this. Okay, and then I'm going to take another zip tie, and I'm going to go between these 2. I have to find the first hole. Make sure my flat is going to be to the ceiling, because your zip ties won't zip if you don't have that flat part up. All right, there's that one. Make sure now see, these could be turned in these last few. You could do this way if you wanted to. It still would cover, and it would give your flower a totally different look. These in the middle would kind of be like a magnolia. That's how you do a magnolia. You do them up right there. But I just kept it all the same because I'm going to add a cute, at least one bee. Okay, and you kind of start getting pretty thick right here in the center. But that's good because you can use some glue to help your center. All right, so I want this one over both of these. And one more and we're done except for putting the center on it. So I'm going to go between these 2. It basically just hides the row back here. These zip ties and stuff. And this will be the last petal for this flower. Then you have your choice of whatever kind of center you want to use. See, you kind of have these 4 on top of the other 4. And I'll show you the center I chose to use. Let me move this. I don't need either one of those anymore. You don't need that. That's all trash. Has everything made sense so far? Now see, if I really look, I can kind of see in between here, but you know, nobody's gonna see that. And you just readjust them a little bit, and maybe make them pump up a little bit. So this is what we have. You see how I picked it up? Because I have to look and find, this is the top of it. Okay? Now, if you want to, take a screenshot of this. If you're interested in making this particular one with 2 colors of any color, and you like this pattern, just take a screenshot. I see Ann says, what would you charge for one like this? Probably about $79 plus shipping. Most of my flowers are like $64. This one has more petals, and you're going to see it's going to have a bee and some bling. So more than likely $79. Okay, so when you take a screenshot.
Ms. Brubaker said you do amazing explaining everything.
Thank you. I'm so glad to hear you say that. I worry about it. And like I said, we're almost at an hour now, so this one's a little bit longer. All right, so if you took a screenshot and you want to do this pattern, row 1, let me read it to you and you can write it down. Row 1 is 32 petals, 16 yellow, 16 black. Okay, row 2, 24 petals, and they're all yellow. Row 3 is 16 petals, and they're all black. Okay, now I wrote down that this one has 24 petals. So hang on. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 22, 24. So there's 24 holes when you use the shared. So let's go back. 32, 24, 16, and 8. It just goes down. Okay, now this is the center that I am going to use. This is made with what they call bling rope. I just took a half of a styrofoam ball and I glued the bling rope around it. Monkey from Monkey's Creation actually makes these and sells them if you want to just buy one. Lori sells the bling rope. Now whether she still has any or not, I don't know. But then I just took a pipe cleaner. You can't see it because I've had this one made for a while. And then I just put glue, and I use these floral pins that you can stick down through the styrofoam. And then I put a little more glue, and I put just a ribbon so it wouldn't pull it loose. So what I'm going to do, I'm gonna have to stand up. You just need to take your pipe cleaners and find 2 holes across from each other. And it's gonna be these that you've already got something in. But you want, see my pipe cleaner coming through? You want them across from each other. And then I'm going to twist this just one time so it doesn't pull out back here. Then I'm going to twist it over and add glue. You wouldn't have to, but that's one good thing about having so many petals under there. I'm going to lift this up and I'm going to put glue all over this mesh underneath here. That center, I'm just going to, my glue gun doesn't, I'm just adding glue just to kind of help keep that center in place. It might run through to the back, it might not. But if you've got them across from each other, when you pull them tight, it's going to center the ball for you. And then I just take it, I usually stand. Now you could use a little bitty center. This one stands up a little bit.
And Travis says she loves it.
I thought it would look real pretty with the, had I had black, shiny with no white in it, that's what I would have used. But I'm all the time telling y'all, make do with what you've got. Use what you've got. I had several rows of this, and I wasn't gonna just go out and buy some black just to use for this. Okay, Now, technically, it should have been in this hole, y'all, but close enough. All right, then when you hold it down, just take it and twist it just a time or two. And then I like to put it through another hole. You don't want anything sharp back here on anybody's door. So if you want to put a little bit of glue down in each of those holes, you could. But I take my business card. All right, let me cut off that little bit of yellow that's sticking through there. I take my business card and put over that pipe cleaner. I could just glue it right here over the pipe cleaner.
I made a chamber and it says so beautiful. I'm going to try it. Probably have to watch the replay.
Oh, well, that's good. That's why replays are there. See, this, when you've got a big one like this, it kind of pushes up those center ones anyway. Now, that's beautiful just like it is. But I have some bees that I'm going to use, but I don't know which. These, I believe, came from Craft Outlet. There came like 3 in a thing. And I had thought about just putting him right here. Well, it would be wherever this is the top. So I'd probably like just stick it in there and glue it like this. Or Nick from Nick's Seasonal Designs, I ordered these from him. Monkey actually sells these centers that already have bees on them, y'all. By the way, I don't know what she sells them for. But these are just little bee picks. And so
The yellow shows up better on the black than it does on the other. The big
what,
bee.
this or the big
Yeah.
bee?
The big
But
bee.
now, I mean, you would do several of these.
The big bee doesn't show up as well, I don't think.
I think that would be really cute to maybe use like 3 bees, like it's kind of a hive. These have a little bit of wire, and I think you can just look at them, y'all. Can you see their feet? They're not feet, but you know, those are so stinking cute. And I believe I can like put a little glue on it and stick it through the styrofoam. Let's see. Yep. Those are so cute. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. Let me make sure I've got the top so I don't have my bees upside down. I think that's what I'm gonna do, y'all. I'm just gonna put a little glue.
Barbara Rosecrans wants to know if you can send the website for the little bees.
Yeah, it's nickseasonaldecor.com, but I will put it in the comments, yes ma'am. Now he sells a lot of stuff. I ordered some really cute signs from him. These were the, and it was $11 for a dozen bees, because I wrote it on the box. These were his, oh, there's 20, no. Are there 24 bees in there? Or 24 cents each? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I guess there's 24 bees. These were his medium bees. He had some bigger ones too. But he also sells cute signs. He has mesh. Don't know if he has like centers for a flower or not. All right, and you just put the bees anywhere you want them. Let's put one about there.
They probably can't see that wire, but it's...
Yeah, there's a little bitty wire on them, and I'm just kind of trying, rather than just glue the bees, but I hate to smush their little legs. I'm trying to stick that wire through that, and then I'll put a little, so they won't lay down flat unless you smush their legs.
Brenda Bracken says, hello, I'm late.
Hey Brenda, you can go back and watch the replay. We're just making a bee wreath. So I'm kind of trying to stick the wire in there and then put a little bit of glue also. You think 3 bees? I have a couple of bee signs, so I will be using this bee also.
Barbara Rosecrans says she likes the little bees better.
I think the little bees are cute on this. But, I mean, they're just so cotton picking cute. Look at those little legs. And I'm just cutting off most of the wire on them. All right, should I have one come in this way too?
I would think. Of course, my opinion in a $20 bill will get you Coke anywhere.
All right, let me add a little glue to this one. Let me put his feet out a little bit, or maybe.
Ann Travis says beautiful.
Beautiful. Thanks, Ann. It did turn out pretty. And like I said, Monkey's Creations, if you want to order the centers already made, she does them in all colors, but I don't remember the price. Or if you can find this bling rope, you can make your own. Okay, their little antennas don't show up real well on that black, but I think you get the picture. All right, what do you think? Give me some hearts if y'all like the little bees on it. And like I said, you also can buy bigger bees and put on there. But I have a sign for that bigger bee. So that's it. If y'all have any questions about the, you know, the pedal again, go back and watch the replay. I hope I explained it well enough, but it's called the Star Trek pedal. You also can go on YouTube, and Lori, the owner of Unique in the Creek, has videos on like 8 different pedals. What, Ed?
Oh, Linda Kirkendall said, I'm new to your site from Minnesota, love the bees. And Nancy Alstrom said, please tell me where you find the patriotic wreath with the pinwheel at it.
Patriotic wreath with a pinwheel?
Mm-hmm.
Is it a wreath that I've done, Nancy? I'm not sure. If you could send me a picture. I know Lori and Monkey both have done a patriotic wreath that was like on both sides, that kind of like a pinwheel. I guess I'm not sure what the pinwheel you're talking. I don't remember ever using any kind of pinwheel. Now,
Brenda Bracken says Monkeys does it.
Monkey's what?
Creations does it.
Monkey's Creation does the pinwheel thing. Now, if you're talking about the one where you put it on the board and your pedals are going in a pinwheel, I did do a video on that, and it would kind of be like the video I did for it looked like a piece of peppermint candy, and I may have a video on a patriotic wreath. A lot of people are doing the one, and then there's an eagle head. But you can go to YouTube and search. Either Lori from Unique in the Creek has done videos on that, and Monkey, either one, has done a video on that. And we're going to be doing some really cute patriotic stuff in about a month. Okay, well that's it for today, which I'm really surprised, y'all. It was just an hour and 2 minutes, so that's not bad. I hope y'all are okay with, like I said, the fact that I do the majority, because y'all would be sitting here for 3 hours if you wanted me to do all these pedals. And if I didn't explain it well enough and you still have any questions, go back and watch the replay. Like I said, if you like this pattern, you've got 32 pedals, 24 pedals, 16 pedals, and 8 pedals, 4 rows, like this. So you may want to screenshot the back of it. A lot of times that'll help, because you can see which row has shared pedals. So just take a second to screenshot the back, and you can go back. A lot of times I do that and I save the pictures and then I'll mark them. But you could do this, like I said, all one color. You could do 2 colors, you could do 3 colors, 4 colors, whatever. But I love this bright yellow and black. So anyway, y'all have a great Easter. I hope you're able to celebrate with your family. as a get-together, and just remember to look around and realize all of our blessings that we have. We're very blessed. And I will see y'all Monday. It'll be at 1 o'clock again, probably through May. And I hate to keep changing times, but you know, life goes on, and
And grandkids happen.
yeah, grandkids happen. In fact, right now, Lainey is going to cheerleader tryouts. So we'll say a little prayer for Lainey. She'll do great. But anyway, our church puts on a passion play, and tonight is our first performance. So I have to get to church, and I just want y'all to have a great Easter and enjoy your Resurrection Sunday. I will be back Monday, and I think what I'm going to do, I've got some little shelf sitters that I'm making for gifts, and so I'm going to show you how I do them, and we'll be using some printables plus stencils. So y'all have a great week. Remember to pray for those that went through the tornadoes and the bad weather, and don't forget to put in #AprilKit to be eligible for our blessing box this month. Thank y'all so much for being here and sticking out with me for a whole hour. I really appreciate it. And Phyllis, thank you so much for the stars. I'm so excited to finally be able to get stars. And it will help as far as defraying the cost of what I ship out for my freebies. So I'm getting something in the mail to you in the next day or two, if you'll PM me your address. Thanks a lot, guys. Y'all have a blessed Easter. Bye-bye.